Hello, my name is M.Moran, and today I will be presenting my TOK presentation. So for my real life situation, I decided to look into a TED Talk video by King Lee titled, "Can You Really Tell If a Kid is Lying?" that discusses how to differentiate the truth from erroneous claims. When I came across this video, I thought about the truth and reliability. In a world where truth is valued, how can we know what is actually real and not? To this, I asked a follow-up question. To what extent is someone's words reliable, and why do we accept a perspective as truth without regarding its limitations? Using this, I branched off and developed my knowledge question. To what extent is our search for evidence tampered by our assumptions when assessing what is true knowledge? For my first development, I will be looking into the trust and validity of assumptions. And for this I claim, trust is needed in order for individuals to validate their acceptance of information. In the news source, trust is needed in order for individuals to validate it as true information. Their assumptions of the reliability of the source is tampered by either giving a green or red light in acceptance, different perspectives of people. And for this, the example that I decided to use is the political ideologies interfering with the news sources preferred by individuals. From my personal experience, people tend to be right-winged, will trust news sources such as Fox News and the Daily of the image of the source is aligned with theirs. The assumption about sources are tampered by their political affiliation, leading to the trust that is information and credible. Similarly, the same could be said about left-wing sources and individuals. However, for the twist of this development is that assumptions and trust for acceptance of knowledge changes over time. And for this, I decided to look into the example from where I read from Japan's Total Empire, Manchuria, and the Culture of Wartime Imperialism by Young Louis. It stated, during the Japanese imperial era, specifically during World War II and previous to that war, the Japanese perspective began to change and a rapid ideal of their superiority grew. The people of the government officials thought their expansion should be into China and an enemy looked down upon. News sources began to display propaganda, and because of the changes in experience and ideals, the assumptions for a Japanese imperial nation grew along with the trust for that perspective. Basically, an imperial Japan thus aggravated the nation, and this goes to show that the people's perspectives on their nation and their lives had changed. So linking back, assumptions are certainties that occur and do not rely on evidence. Individuals view the world through their experiences and knowledge. We absorb new knowledge differently for those same reasons. Because of that, when we search for evidence of new knowledge, we search in favor of building our ego, what we claim to be false or truth, because it proves our claims more. Also, when evidence aligns with our claims of truth, we are prejudiced for that evidence, the opposite for evidence that counters us. And for my development too, I'll be looking into the reliability that goes into our assumptions. And for this, I claim the more reliable something is, the more acceptance it will gain. There is a baseline for reliability that we can understand. Without a baseline, our reliability is not there. A cognitive perception of our brain is that it trusts reliability the greater it is. If something works, naturally we perceive it as truth and accept what it claims. And for this, I will be using something that I learned in history class, that after Custer's last stand at the Little Bighorn battle, Americans blamed the native people because they worked as a target. The native people were all blamed and were because they were seen as savages. The lie was reliable enough to wrongfully attack and kill innocent people. And for this twist, the different perspective that I will be viewing is that what is claimed to be reliable is tampered by the previous knowledge of the individual. And for this example, I'll be using a personal experience from Chevrolet truck advertisement, where real people claim the reliability of the truck because of their past experiences and knowledge of the truck. People used as non-actors claim that the truck is reliable because of their past experiences. This shows how their past knowledge and experiences on the trucks makes it more reliable to them, and because they are in a commercial, they could make the vehicle seem more reliable. Like said before, something is only as reliable as we make it seem. Linking back in search for known knowledge or evidence, we look at what is most reliable and accept that which interrupts our search for evidence in negative and positive aspects. It is a fault when we do not examine the full perspective and use reliability for our own purpose. Reliability narrows a perspective which allows for limitations in the search for actual trustworthy evidence. And for my third and final development, I'll be looking into the emotions that go into the assumptions. And for this, I claim that the assessment of the validity of what individuals believe in is tempered by their faith, which results in bias. When people assume to know the truth, their assessment of the validity of what they believe in is tempered by their faith. Emotionally, what an individual feels becomes a bias for or against the assumption outweighing other claims. And for this example, I decided to explore the work 100 Authors Against Einstein, published to discredit general relativity. The authors wrote this mainly because, without looking at Einstein's proofs, because they were biased and had faith in Newton's work and viewed Einstein as a joke for trying to disprove the foundations of physics at the time. They let their emotions overrule the work of Einstein and therefore created a bias against him. However, for the twist, a different point of view can be seen. Evidence for claims that are biased have an amount of supporting evidence which enable individuals to further pursue such claims. So, although there is a bias, there is a certain amount of evidence behind that bias. And for this example, I I used preferring to use a Pythagorean theorem over the laws of cosine and sine because of a faithful bias. So in mathematics, for example, there are many functions that can be applied to problems. What method is being used is up to the individual, which to an extent requires a faithful bias toward that method because of past experiences. In my experience, I rather use the Pythagorean theorem to solve a side of a right triangle than the laws of cosine and sine because I know that the method is quicker and easier. And to link back, in the search for evidence, our assumptions are composed of biases derived from emotions, thus tempering our inclinations to knowledge, while still having some evidence to support that bias. And for my conclusion, I'll be linking back to my real life situation. In the search for evidence, assumptions of knowledge are tempered by our trust, the source's reliability with our experiences and knowledge and emotional bias. Knowing what to look for in evidence must have something to be reliable. We must trust it. So when we're looking into children who lie, parents or individuals trust their children and therefore validate their assumption that they are telling the truth. And for reliability, they know that they can trust their child because it works or it has been proven in their past experiences or knowledge of their child that he or she tells the truth. Then if the child is lying, it works to believe that they aren't. And for the emotional bias, there is a bias to believe children because they are seen as innocent. And a connection made to another real life situation is playing chess. While playing chess in search for the best new move, there are many assumptions made by individuals, such as myself, when analyzing the board for evidence. When individuals make a proceeding move, there needs to be a certain amount of trust that goes into deciding what move to make. There needs to be a reliability to know that that move will work, and there is also an emotional bias or inclination towards that move because it has either been used before or because it seems as the best choice. And this is my works cited page. Thank you.